Imagine a place where fire meets ice, where glaciers tower over volcanic craters, where the Earth itself seems alive, breathing steam into the frozen air. This is Iceland, an island sitting just below the Arctic Circle, where only 370,000 people share the land with forces of nature so powerful they've shaped legends for over 1,000 years. Iceland sits on the mid-Atlantic ridge, the boundary where two of Earth's massive tectonic plates are slowly tearing apart. This makes it one of the most geologically active places on the planet. Volcanoes, geysers, earthquakes, they're not disasters here, they're just part of life. But what makes Iceland truly remarkable isn't just the drama beneath the surface, it's how life has found a way to thrive in one of the harshest environments on Earth. Where winter darkness lasts for months and summer sun never sets, where howling Arctic winds can knock you off your feet, and where the land itself was scraped clean by glaciers only thousands of years ago. This extraordinary wilderness holds stories of survival against impossible odds. Seabirds nest by the millions on sheer cliffs. Foxes endure in landscapes that would challenge almost any other mammal. Waters teem with whales the size of buses. Moss-covered lava fields stretch across terrain that looks like another planet entirely. This is Iceland, raw, remote, and completely unforgettable. To understand Iceland's wildlife, you first need to understand its landscape, and that landscape was born from fire. Beneath Iceland, a massive plume of magma rises from deep within the Earth's mantle. Combined with the spreading tectonic plates, this creates a volcanic hotspot unlike anywhere else in the world. Iceland has over 130 volcanic mountains, and around 30 of them are still active. The eruptions here aren't just history. In 2010, the volcano Eyjafjallajökull erupted, sending ash clouds that shut down air travel across Europe. In 2021, lava fountains burst from the ground near Reykjavik, drawing thousands of visitors to witness the raw power of Earth's interior. And the eruptions continue even today. But volcanoes are only half the story. Covering over 11% of Iceland's surface are glaciers, massive rivers of ancient ice, some over 500 meters thick. The largest, Vatnajökull, is bigger than all the glaciers in continental Europe combined. These glaciers carved Iceland's dramatic valleys and fjords. They grind mountains into powder, and when they meet the volcanic heat below, they create something spectacular. Glacial floods called Jökulhlaups that can release more water than the Amazon River. Between the fire and ice, you'll find landscapes that seem impossible. Black sand beaches where waves crash against volcanic cliffs. Geothermal areas where boiling water erupts from the ground every few minutes. Lava fields covered in thick carpets of moss that have taken centuries to grow. These moss fields are especially important. In a land with few trees, moss becomes the foundation. It holds moisture, it prevents erosion, and slowly, very slowly, it builds soil where nothing existed before. Some of these moss-covered lava flows are over 800 years old, and the moss itself can be several feet thick. The vegetation here is tough and low to the ground. Iceland is home to one of the greatest seabird colonies in the North Atlantic. Millions of birds arrive each spring to nest on steep cliffs and rocky islands around the coast. And the star of the show is the Atlantic puffin. With their colorful beaks, tuxedo-like plumage, and somewhat clumsy waddle, puffins have become Iceland's unofficial mascot. But don't let their cute appearance fool you. These are incredible athletes. Puffins can dive over 60 meters deep, using their wings to fly underwater while hunting small fish. They can carry multiple fish crosswise in their beaks at once, bringing food back to their single chick hidden in a burrow. Between 8 and 10 million puffins nest in Iceland each summer. That's over 60% of the entire Atlantic puffin population. The largest colonies are found on islands like Vestmannaeyjar and along the cliffs of Latrabjarg in the Vestfjords. But puffins aren't alone. Sharing the cliffs are guillemots, razorbills, and kittiwakes, each species claiming its own nesting territory. Guillemots pack together so tightly on narrow ledges that their eggs have evolved to be pear-shaped, so they roll in circles rather than falling off the cliff. Then there are the Arctic terns, perhaps the most remarkable migrants on Earth. These small seabirds fly from Iceland to Antarctica and back each year, a round trip of over 70,000 kilometers. They experience more daylight than any other animal on the planet. And we can't forget the great skuar, the pirate of the seabird world. These aggressive predators steal food from other birds, and they're not afraid to attack anything that comes near their nests, including humans. If you hike through their territory, you'll likely have a skuar diving at your head. During summer, these cliffs are alive with activity. Parents make countless trips to the ocean and back, feeding their chicks. The air is filled with calls, squabbles, and the constant movement of wings. But when autumn arrives, something remarkable happens. Almost overnight, the cliffs fall silent. The birds abandon their nests and head out to sea, where they'll spend the entire winter floating on the waves, sometimes hundreds of kilometers from land. The colonies that were bursting with life become empty and quiet. Walk into Iceland's interior, away from the coasts, and you'll notice something strange. It's quiet. Very quiet. Iceland has almost no native land mammals. When humans first arrived over 1,100 years ago, they found an island with only one native terrestrial mammal, the Arctic fox. The Arctic fox is Iceland's only native land predator, and it's perfectly adapted to survive here. Its thick fur changes with the seasons, white in winter for camouflage in the snow, and brown or grey in summer to blend with the rocks. These small foxes are opportunistic hunters and scavengers, eating everything from seabird eggs and chicks to berries, fish, and carrion. During the summer nesting season, Arctic foxes patrol beneath seabird cliffs, waiting for eggs or chicks to fall. It's dangerous work. Angry skuas and gulls dive-bomb them constantly. But for a fox raising pups in a den, it's worth the risk. Arctic foxes were once heavily hunted in Iceland because they occasionally killed lambs. Their population dropped dramatically. But today they're protected in nature reserves, and their numbers are slowly recovering. Seeing one in the wild is still a rare and special experience. Beyond the Arctic fox, most of Iceland's mammals were brought by humans. Reindeer were introduced in the 18th century from Norway and now roam the eastern highlands in herds. They're wild and wary, and spotting them usually means seeing them from a distance, moving across barren mountain slopes. Icelandic horses, though domesticated, are an iconic part of the landscape. These small, sturdy horses descended from Viking-era stock and have been isolated on the island for over 1,000 years. They're uniquely suited to Iceland's terrain and weather, with thick coats and a sure-footed gait. But some of Iceland's most fascinating wildlife isn't on land at all. Look to the rivers and lakes and you'll find Arctic char and Atlantic salmon making their way upstream to spawn. These fish are vital food sources for both wildlife and humans. And then there are the seals. Harbour seals and grey seals haul out on rocky shores and beaches around Iceland's coast. You'll often see their heads bobbing in the water, watching you with curious eyes. In the far north, you might even spot a ringed seal, or, very rarely, a walrus that has wandered down from the high Arctic. The wildlife here is limited, but what does exist has mastered survival in a land that doesn't give second chances. Iceland's greatest wildlife spectacle doesn't happen on land. It happens in the cold, nutrient-rich waters that surround the island. These waters are home to over 20 species of whales and dolphins. The continental shelf around Iceland creates perfect conditions. Cold Arctic currents meet warmer Atlantic waters, creating upwellings that bring nutrients to the surface. This feeds massive populations of plankton and small fish, which in turn feeds everything else. The most commonly seen whales are humpbacks and minke whales. Humpbacks are the performers of the whale world. They breach, slapping the water with their massive bodies. They slap their long pectoral fins on the surface, and they sing complex songs that can be heard for kilometers underwater. Minke whales are smaller and more elusive, but they're curious. Sometimes they'll approach boats, surfacing nearby to investigate. Their sleek bodies can be over 8 meters long, yet they move through the water with remarkable grace. But the true giants visit Iceland too. Blue whales, the largest animals ever to exist on Earth, feed in Icelandic waters during summer. A single blue whale can weigh as much as 200 tons and grow over 30 meters long. Its heart is the size of a small car. When a blue whale surfaces and blows, the spout can reach 9 meters high. Orcas, or killer whales, patrol these waters in family pods, hunting fish and sometimes seals. Despite their name, they're actually the largest member of the dolphin family. Orcas are highly intelligent and social, with different populations having distinct cultures and hunting techniques. Then there are the acrobatic white-beaked dolphins, often seen in large groups, leaping and playing in the bow waves of boats. And occasionally, sperm whales dive to incredible depths off Iceland's coast, hunting giant squid in the dark waters of the deep ocean. Whale watching has become one of Iceland's most popular activities, and for good reason. There's something humbling about being on a small boat when a 40-ton humpback whale surfaces just meters away, its eye visible beneath the water, watching you as much as you're watching it. Iceland feels eternal. The glaciers, the volcanoes, the endless horizons. It seems like a place that will never change. But it is changing. Iceland's glaciers are melting faster than almost anywhere on Earth. Vatnajökull has lost over 400 cubic kilometers of ice in recent decades. Scientists predict that many of Iceland's smaller glaciers could disappear entirely within this century. The puffin population is declining. Warming ocean temperatures are changing where fish live, making it harder for puffins to find food for their chicks. In some years, entire colonies have failed to successfully raise young. Climate change is rewriting the rules for life in the Arctic, and Iceland, sitting at the boundary between temperate and polar worlds, is experiencing these changes firsthand. But there's hope. Iceland protects vast areas of its wilderness. The country generates almost 100% of its electricity from renewable sources, geothermal and hydropower. Icelanders have a deep connection to their land, and that connection drives conservation efforts. The Arctic fox is recovering. Whale populations, once devastated by hunting, are slowly rebounding. Visitors from around the world come to Iceland not to conquer it, but to witness it, to understand it, to be changed by it. Iceland teaches us something important. It shows us that life can thrive in the most extreme conditions. That beauty exists in harsh landscapes. That survival and adaptation are written into the DNA of every creature that calls this place home. This is Iceland, land of fire and ice, where the earth is still being born and where life continues to find a way. And it's worth protecting.